Shouts out to my people. Shouts out to my people. Sending love, positivity, and good vibes to my people, man. I hope you guys are doing good today. I'm doing great. Today's topic, today's gem is you gotta love the pain. You gotta fall in love with the pain. As a man, you know, we don't have the luxury of not taking accountability. Ain't nobody coming to save us. So, you know, I wanted to make this message today. I was in a gym and I'm like, you know, you're gonna have two types of pain. So you might as well choose the better pain. I like to speak on the three topics that I like to speak on a lot is women, money, and the gym / just success. You know, it might be building a business. So the pain of being in the gym, you either gonna have the pain of regret of not going, or you're gonna have the pain of having to wake up, stay consistent. There's gonna be certain days where you don't want to go. There's gonna be days where you might not be able to go. You might have to actually work out at the house. But the pain of staying consistent, the pain of getting on your diet, the pain of cutting off your vices, a lot of these things come with the gym. New Year's, I'm deciding, you know, we're going to get back on 75 hard. So that's going to be painful. I'm going to have to, one, sacrifice, and I'm going to have to, the thing about 75 hard is if you miss one thing out of the 5 things that you have to do for the day, you know, you basically forfeit. You got to start back at 0. And it's an accountability test because, you know, you can lie to yourself, but where does that get you? So, yeah, New Year's, I feel like I'm going to just, the 5 things, I'm veering off. The 5 things, you got to take a picture a day. You got to work out twice a day. One workout must be outside. You must drink a gallon of water a day, and you must give up drugs and alcohol. So, and you must read 10 pages out of a book. I want to focus, you know, I'm not trying to not read the book. Probably be the audio while I'm working out. Definitely want to commit to, but I don't want to be so busy because I have kids. You know, I want to make this a realistic goal. So instead of, you know, sitting down and reading 10 pages of book, I'm into content creation. So I thought that, you know, I would just make sure that my content got done for the day. So that's what we will be doing. If you guys want to, you know, lock in with me, 75 hard is coming up. I feel like that would be great content. Good things to talk about and to see the growth. You know, it's the journey that we on. So back to the topic though. You gotta love the pain. You either gonna have the pain of regret or you're gonna have the pain of beating down your body every day. You know, when you, like I said the video previously, when you go into the gym every single day and you really like feeling the retention, you're getting sore, you know, it's a whole different thing. And basically the only difference is, you know, you basically lying to yourself or you actually standing up and putting in that effort to be the person that you want to be. To me, even though it's harder to actually put in that effort, it's more daunting. And, you know, you feel, at least with me, I felt with my confidence and everything, I felt like, you know, I wasn't a happy version of myself. So I would, at the end of the day, would sacrifice that time, that energy, that effort, that focus in order to grow into the person that I really wanted to be, than just sitting stagnant, damn near deteriorating, if not getting worse, from the goals that I have, you know, in my mind. So, yeah, the pain. Choose the pain of growth or the pain of regret, especially when it comes to the gym, financially, you know, with the businesses and stuff like that. You can focus on the pain of day by day, focusing on how to really be financially free, or you can just do what everybody else is doing and just living paycheck to paycheck. They say 90% of people only have $10,000 in their account. You know, we so locked in with keeping up with the Joneses. Here comes the holidays, all that. So just be cautious of how much money you spending, your future. Like, I'm not saying don't go out and see your family. I'm not saying, basically just don't do the extreme. You don't have to, you can ease into these things, and you should ease into these things. Eventually, the older I get, I want to make holidays more in the sense of maybe going on vacation or traveling. I really want to make that memory. But there's no problem with, giving gifts and eating food and seeing your family on the holidays. But, like I said, what do you want? Where do you see yourself? So, the pain and regret. I don't want to get older and be like, I never traveled anywhere. I got my passport, yeah, but I haven't gone anywhere. So it's like, I want to see different, locations. I want to go to different parts of the map, and, and I want my kids and the people around me to experience those things as well. So, I can have the pain of just sitting back, not really taking a chance, just being content, just being content in the sense of, I'm okay now, but you see, life is so much, and if you really want to manifest and sit back, you can. So I feel like that's what it's about. It's about pushing the limits, seeing how far you can take it. So, yeah. It's gonna be painful either way. It's gonna be painful having to go out and deal with people. A lot of the money and ways I make money is, reselling and stuff like that. So, you have to deal with people. That gets daunting. That gets, people accessing you or trying to get up with you a lot of the times when you don't have time or it's your downtime. So, but it's sacrifices, you can't come at the end of the day, you got to see the bigger picture. You got to, and that's a lot of the times when you don't let those things get to you. When you look at it like, I get to do this and not I gotta do this, then you would treat it a little bit different. So, yeah, the pain. Choose which pain. We got into the gym, business, saving money, knowing yourself and what you want to do and what you like. And when it comes to girls, heartbreak. Heartbreak is real. If you guys, anything like me, I've experienced heartbreak about 3-4 times in my life. I don't want to experience that shit again, because that shit is hard. But it's the pain, I look at it as the pain of going through that every single time has morphed me into the man that I needed to become. Some guys, they go through that one heartbreak and then that's all they need. Me, I kept thumping my head against the wall, you feel me? But now it's to the point where I'm just on some chill shit. I'm really focused on, you know, building a legacy, staying consistent, building the craft, focused on just getting better. So, you know, it's the pain of being where I am right now, you know, maybe not feeling like I have that support, not feeling like, you know, I'm not getting the accolades or the views, and, you know, but at the end of the day, gotta keep going. What you gonna do, cry about it? So it's the pain of being where you are and wanting more, or it's the pain of watching other people fucking popping up on TikTok telling you every single time you open up the app, like, yo, you gotta go harder, you gotta post more, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, eventually, you know what I'm saying, and either you gonna rise to the occasion or you just gonna keep watching the same content and you gonna get them paid. You know, I feel like now more than anything, it's so many content creators that, you know, the people watching the content, a lot of them are almost shell-shocked and not doing anything because they're so in a rabbit hole of watching other people's content. It's like, nah, you know, I watch FitX Fearless, he doing his thing with the reaction, talking to men, giving them advice, look maxing. I feel like that's all great. Also, I be seeing, you know, Casey Zander speaking about woman nature, and even though I need that information, I still watch that stuff to this day. I will say, you know, that you can find yourself just almost stalling out, not doing anything, staying exactly where you need to be. You know, there's been times where I'm literally watching men's advice and personal development shit, and it's like, instead of just watching this shit like you know it now, like, take what you know and go the fuck out in the world and apply that shit. And so many people are just regurgitating, and, you know, hell, there's people, I done seen people on FitX, you know, no homo, that are handsome, in shape, you know, have the potential, but they stay at home all fucking day. They ain't, you know what I'm saying? So if that's what you're looking for, social life and stuff like that, you know, you got to go through the pain of, relationships. You're going to get burnt. It doesn't just got to be females. You could get burnt in a relationship off of a friend just by, you know, not knowing who they are. And a lot of the quotes that you hear, no new friends and stuff like that, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I'm kind of sticking to that. Like, who I know now is solidified, locked in. Anybody else after this, it's like, you know, we could, you know what I'm saying, but like, shit, I done fell out with enough people. I don't need nobody else. I don't want to fall out with it, you feel me? So, yeah, we talked about finances, talked about the gym, women, heartbreak. You know, you're going to have the pain of loving a woman and providing and going through this stuff and, you know, fighting and fussing and cheating and, you know, all these emotions. Or you can be single and nobody will hit you up, or, you know, and you would be lonely as hell and you will wish that you at least had that experience. Which pain? Which pain? Are you going to choose love? Or are you going to choose, you know, to be a bump on the log sitting in your house all fucking day and just not really doing nothing? So that's the pain of love. The pain of money. Love is definitely way harder, I would say. You know, when you really love somebody, I feel like that never really goes away. And, you know, there's just more emotions attached when, you know, you love somebody. But money is close second when it comes to, you know, when you take a loss with money. But those losses is what's going to make you stronger. For example, stock market. We all done took losses financially, but the stock market, the only way I learned about making money and losing money was COVID. I was putting money before COVID, and, you know, it was basically like a video game. I put in a little bit of money, make a little bit of money, everything was cool. As soon as COVID happened, lost all my money. So I had to play the long game and just wait until, you know, COVID was over, which it took years to get, you know, my money back and some, but I learned so much off the experience. So, you know, long story short, life is hard, obviously, but you either gonna have the pain of the success and having to go through all the bullshit, or you gonna have the pain of regret and you gonna wish that you did the shit that you wanted to do anyway. So, you know, they both suck, but hey, at least you get a prize at the end of one of them. So shit, I love you guys. It's positivity, good vibes. I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a great day. We out.